Hi everybody, it's Joseph Hawes here. And the subject from my podcast is, as the title says, you're pretty, but just think if you'd lost some weight. Now this podcast is not all around diets, being obese, unhealthy living styles. No, this podcast is asking the world, the universe, normal walks of life, to use your emotional intelligence, have some empathy, and be respectful. Think about what you're saying to people when you use that comment. Now, this comment has been used to me, I would say, every year, not every month, but every year for a very, very, very long time. 20, 30 years. The comment that people say you're a very pretty girl, but just think what you'd look like if you'd lost some weight. Now, prettiness and being beautiful has never been a thing that I have lost sleep over, because I've had more negativity around what I look like than positivity. However, in the past 20 years of my life, maybe even longer, I have learnt to appreciate how I feel about myself. But when I do get positive accolades, I put them in my positive pot, so I can always go to it and think to myself, a complete stranger said this, a member of my family said this, a partner, a friend, a work colleague. So I can collectively go through what I call my positive pot and understand that how I'm thinking about myself is mirrored to what people say about me. However, on the negative side of things, when people feel very, very comfortable to use those words, a less stronger emotional person would react in such a negative way that it could upset them mentally. And I ask people to think about that. What makes them feel that the size of a person makes them less pretty? That's your opinion. That person could be so healthy, so just looking after themselves, and generally that is their DNA. That's who they are on this planet. That's who they were meant to be. And they are perfectly comfortable in their skin. And they go on with their day. Their daily task is to make sure that they stay as healthy as they need to stay. But to be met with comments that you don't look like how maybe they feel that you should look is something that we don't address. And it's very sad, because I have been many sizes due to whatever reasons. So I have, and I will use the word, been fortunate, because it is now my lived experience to understand what people go through being too tall, being too thin, being too big, just being too ... And having that in different walks of life, and speaking to people and sharing stories. I feel fortunate to share stories with these people and hopefully leave them with advice to remember that if they feel okay, if they're doing what they feel they need to keep healthy, then that is their own journey that nobody should spoil. If they are truly happy, then it is not up to anybody to see them from the outside and say, just think how pretty you would look if you were slimmer. I mean, me personally, and literally I make no secret about this, but my extra pounds then shaves at least 20 years off my age. So I know how much older I'd look if I was slimmer, that's for sure. Oh, my days. But that's me. I'm comfortable in my own skin to share that story. But I have spoken to so many people that react negatively because they have been, I call it verbally attacked, because they have been verbally attacked. People feel comfortable to verbally attack people that are different. And this is why I didn't want to make it two sizes, this podcast, because it's people that are different. And how can you then look at people that are different and say comfortably that they should look like this, that they should look like this, and they would be prettier if they look like that? Not your choice to make, I'm afraid. The reason why the world goes round is because we are different. We are all unique individuals, and we come along with our unique personalities and looks. What goes on in each and every person, including myself, will not get better if I'm slimmer and prettier. If I have health issues that may warrant me to pass if I don't sort that out, that's different. But superficial comments, like saying to somebody that they would look prettier if they change, is not only harming, it's very, very, very unsympathetic. And it calls question, really. Says who? In the space of time that I gained the biggest weight in my life, which was probably about a good 10 to 15 years ago, I became a model. I won a crown in a beauty competition. I did catwalk work. Amazing. All these things I did at my biggest size. So it puzzles me, that comment. It really does. Because these are things that I wouldn't have thought a person like me would do. Because I'm driven to enjoy behind the scenes. I get a little bit uncomfortable when I have to front things, like and do modelling and things like that. But if I have to help that person get ready and psych them up, mentor them, yes, please, absolutely. Have a chat to them about what they want to do, coach them, absolutely fine. But to then be the subject matter has never really been for me. However, when I meet such negativity around my size or who I am as an individual, and quite similar to my past podcast of judging a book by its cover, when people have such a history of, they could almost tell me my lifestyle and what I eat because of what I look like, or I am in a meeting and I'm out of breath, so it must be because I'm plus size, or I'm suffering a particular illness. That must be because I'm plus size. I'm literally flabbergasted on how people can get away with that kind of assumption when we are living in a world where there's certain things that we can't say. We have to watch how competent we are. But in regards to that and being sizes, it's not a problem. But then you hear people taking their lives because they can't live anymore, because what they see in the mirror is something they can't face. Where does that come from? Whether they're thin, whether they're big, where does that concept that they cannot no longer look at themselves anymore because they can't, they hate it, they think that they're abnormal? Why is that not a thing that people are looking at and saying, stop? Why is that not a thing that people are not being called out when they say things like that? I tend to feel that my strength comes around my humour. I break down this negativity by cracking jokes and making these people feel very, very small. But that's me. And that's my inner strength. That is my inner emotional intelligence. I'm not saying that I do it to the point where they feel negative. I do it to the point where their comment hasn't held water. I do it to the point that there's been no relevance to that statement, and I show openly to everybody that might feel to themselves, well, that was offensive, that I didn't take it as so, because I don't give it any importance. But that's a skill that I've had to learn through understanding who I am and understanding the journey I've gone through. But not everybody has been fortunate enough to go through something like that. So, my podcast is about, please remember that we're unique. And she may not look beautiful if she lost weight. So please just don't imagine it. Please love her as she is. Love him as he is. Whether thin or fat, support them. Because we all need each other. And health is key. Yes, you are right. But somebody quite thin can be equally as unhealthy as somebody quite fat. So I say to the world that this plus size individual, I might even think about changing that word to a George size individual, has gone through her life in many sizes, hitting many negativity from over-opinionated people, people that feel that they have something to say on how ugly I am. But I've reached 59 years young with the same inner personality and the same inner strength. And that hasn't got bigger. It hasn't got smaller. My heart and my strength remains solid on who I am as a person. And my personality is as unique as it was when I was a child, teenager, young woman, to the woman I am now. Look in yourself. So when that person is talking about what they feel they want to see in their eyes, that's their issue, not ours. Walk away remembering, and walk away with your back, your shoulders up, your head up, and walk away thinking to yourself and remembering to say it to yourself, whether you say it out loud, whether you say it in your head, it is only their opinion. not yours. You are the beautiful creature that you have always been. Whether thin, whether fat, whether short, whether tall. And nobody has the right to send you on your journey thinking, what if? Nobody has the right to have you receive such a negativity in your life that you go home and you look in that mirror and you no longer like who you see. So my final comment is when they say, just imagine how beautiful you'd be if you was slimmer. Your response is, but I'm okay being as beautiful as I am now. Thanks, guys.